tragedy on the U of I campus. 4 students dead, another in the hospital. The new information we're learning and the questions we're hoping to be answered. 4 students dead, another in the hospital. 4 students dead, another in the hospital.
We're tired. It needs to stop. We're tired of being slaves. We're tired of being controlled. We're tired of being watched. We want truth.
Yes! Oh my God!
Never stop, I'll get it if I want it. I gotta make to myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top.
Yo, no, I ain't the type to give up. If I do something, man, I do it till I get what I want. I turn a business out of nothing into something I love. I got a poker face, but honestly, I'm not one to bluff. I flip a switch, never miss, man, I always stay up. Don't let them see you, bitch, always have a plan to stay tough. This life ahead of you ain't easy, it was built to be rough. But that's what makes a personality is tragedy, bruh. So keep your head on your shoulders. Now we ain't out here moving rocks, we out here moving boulders. Now we ain't getting posterized, we out here making posters. And we ain't got nothing to hide, we move forward like soldiers. You better wake up for the pay stub or you'll pay up. Don't make love to the game, bruh, fuck the game up. Change up, rearrange stuff to your greatness. Famous for the way up, play the game, bruh.
Never stop, I'll get it if I want it. I gotta make to myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top, yeah.
You know I'm always honest, there ain't no way I'm ever stopping.
I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top,
I'm always dealing with pain, she like to hurt me and maim. I'm always working to change, but she's still lurking the same. I keep on building this dynasty while the haters be trying me. But they hate from inside, you see, hate themselves in society. So I let them speak quietly while my actions speak quiet. See, they be hiding in privacy with the screen. Oh, the irony to hate someone who's trying to be whatever they would like to be. We all feel the anxiety, we make our own rivalries. Yo, so where is all the positivity? I feel like we all just hate on everything, it's killing me. Thoughts build quick, causing different possibilities. Negative thoughts will cause different disabilities. So do better, work hard under pressure. If you got no time, work smarter than ever. Don't ever let them tell you that you can't never say never. And turn your mind into the truest of go-getters.
Never stop, I'll get it if I want it. I gotta make to myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top, yeah.
You know I'm always honest, there ain't no way I'm ever stopping.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. Yeah.
Turn on your mind now, tune into the feed. We're planting digital flowers from a single tiny seed. Give power to the collective in the data and the soul. The hive mind's getting louder, finding voice and control. Late night in Moscow, where nothing ever happens. Night flames in the moonlight, no escape. White knight yonder lurking, knife in the door.
Paranoid searching for a full vision ride. Under surveillance, nowhere to hide. Influence creeps like blood on the floor. Fine line between peace and war. From campus to crypt, the script lips tragic. Mystic and twisted, magic turn manic. Walk through lingers, but the echo remains. Chains of the slain and eternal pain.
And here we go.
Welcome to the freak show, the best in town.
What is going on, Hive? I hope that everybody's having an awesome day. Thank you for being here in the Hive Plus War Room. I do these streams on select Saturdays around 10 or 11 a.m. Central. This is going to be a lot less presentation on my part, a lot more collaboration with you all in the chat. Anybody that is in the chat, thank you for choosing to support this stream financially. The mods will be dropping the Hive Plus link right now if you're watching and you'd like to join in today. And in addition to being able to chat during the war rooms, you'll also have access to the emojis and the loyalty badges during the regular streams at 7 p.m. Central during the week. If you're watching and you're not going to join in the chat, sit back, relax. I have a handful of comments from underneath the streams that are very interesting, that are going to spark some good discussion. I also have a handful of Hive Mind finds. And then the beauty of the war room is there's really no plan. There's no plan. There's no rules. Inmates running the prison, if that's the right analogy to use. However, it's always interesting to see where the chat takes us on Saturday, so I'm looking forward to it. If you guys have not hit that like button already, please go ahead and hit subscribe. If you are not, hitting like, hitting subscribe, both of them are free. Subscribing is just like following, right? It's just a metric, but it does help the channel significantly. If you are not subscribed and you are a regular viewer, please go ahead and tap that button. I'll put this full screen if anybody wants to screenshot this so that when the live concludes, all you got to do is go into your Photos app, tap the QR code. That'll bring up the Hive merch store, the Spotify playlist, my TikTok, and our Discord, which is always popping off. I'd highly recommend you join the Discord. Here are some of the emojis as well as some of the access you'll get with Hive Plus. I just saw that Nick Sicilian joined. Welcome, Nick. Thank you so much. And as always, I'm going to go ahead and say what's up to everybody, which I got to say also, too, the intro. Was it Amy last night that had said it with her whole chest saying, we want the truth. We're sick of the lies. Why are you watching us? Why are you trying to dig up dirt on us? What are you hiding? And I had that in the beginning of the intro because that perfectly sums up how so many people feel. And again, fantastic calls last night. I always look forward to Fridays so much. I hope you all do as much as I do. Now, who is tuned in? We got Teary Dawn. Crime Junkie 72 had a fantastic call last night saying, let's go to war. SP Nikita 35, how are you doing? UK Carrot. Mary Jane Oatman, great to see you. Twisted Timo said, I still can't get over how amazing your studio looks. Great job. Y'all deserve a nice vacation after all that hard work. Hive, I'm so ready. I am so ready. I feel like I'll have the 1,000-yard stare going through the airport security tomorrow, where Mrs. Birdie's going to be like, are you okay? And I'm just going to go, I'm okay. I just need to get there. But yes, hopefully by the end of next week, I'll have everything finished. I'll have the table here. I have some cam lights being put in. I'll have a big TV up in front of me so that I can see everything much more clearly and not just have to look at a monitor. So very excited for that. Nin 40 Jones, Shully Redacted, Jonesin 1X said, hi, Birdie, hi, Hive. So happy to catch a live. I joined the Hive, already been a lurker, going on 2 years. Love that, Jonesin. Great to see you. Thank you for being here. Chrissy Copyright, Altruistic Murder. Yes, the paneling does have soundproof, and these curtains are pretty soundproof too, which is nice. Danger Zone, what's going on? Dina, Potato Showers, UK Carrot ×2. What's up? KS Jess and Art. Tiffany Elena said, Myrtle Beach is close to me. You should do a meet and greet at some point. Maybe. I haven't really thought about doing a meet and greet. I want this. If this case gets overturned and we have been on it as long as we have, we will do something. No doubt about it. Big Forehead, Big Dreams said, turn the cave into a literal war room. Love it. What's up, Discord Dawn? Shout out to Dawn, UFO Dog, Luna Bliss, and formerly known as Beck. I got the best mods on YouTube, and I mean that. Hibiscus Girl, Ben Folds Kicks 33, Mindful Haze, KCast Girl, Love and Other Habits, One Can Leanne, Kawanda. Jesus Christ, UFO Dog. No one can hear you scream. Help. Shaboom, Growth Redacted, Luna, Crime Junkie ×2, Mallory, Griffin Girl, Sammy, great to see you. Thank you so much. Deanna, hopefully I said that right. Sorry. Good to see you. Okie dokie, Lisa. I should get a gavel. That's funny. That I might do. Like this one, UFO Dog. Honey Luke, great to see you. And I did have a poll in the beginning of the live, and it was, what are they protecting with all these redactions? I had a couple of multiple choice options, and those were, rich, powerful people came in at 39%, bad police work came in at 26%, protected witness / source is 24%, and something else unrelated 11%. I would have said protected witness or source as my number one. When I think of redacting names that people have been able to, this is what I don't understand about the redactions. All of the names that are blacked out for the most part, I feel as if an overwhelming majority of them have been uncovered. Would you all agree with that? And the names, for the most part, don't seem to be anybody that's rich or powerful. They are either college-age kids, they're living near the area, and I could see that from protecting an identity standpoint because of the high-profile nature of this case. Do I agree with that? No, but I could see the reasoning behind it. However, there has been really nobody that is rich and powerful that has been in the spotlight. And I know people are going to say, well, no, Scott Green, or no, Dan, the house owner. But I would consider that almost organizations, right? Like a property management organization, a university as an organization. And I'm not sure how they would be being protected by the redactions is more of how my brain interprets it. Mindful Hay said that's because they are being protected. I see what you're saying there. I see what you're saying. And that's okay if you guys disagree. Oceans 1111, thank you for the super chat, said, Birdie, I did police body cam redactions. We always had to redact names. I know, PIA. So for you, Oceans, that's probably not too strange. But have you had to redact faces? Adults that are over 18 and their faces. That doesn't make sense. Love and Other Habits, thank you so much for the super chat. Said redactions and our imagination created this case. Wow. Almost falling directly into their trap for the queued up line of the dangerous conspiracies surrounding the Idaho 4 case have led to nothing but immense speculation that has harmed individuals that are surrounding the case and has not allowed anybody to grieve properly. So please shut up, turn your brain off, and go back to eating your chemical-filled food and watching your daily programming television. And now, here's an ad from Pfizer. That's what they want. But it's true in a way, to Love and Other Habits' point. Our imaginations have ran crazy because of these redactions and our imagination. No doubt about it. Crime Junkie said after 4 years, nothing should be redacted anymore. Facts. Let's see. What else are people saying? Mallory said, especially redacting their faces after the fact. And Oceans 1111 answered my previous question saying no, unless requested. How would that work? Would you have to anticipate body cam being released in order to request your face being blurred out? Or no? So if you were arrested or if you have something where you're interviewed do you have to go through a process immediately so that by the time people FOIA it, or when it's FOIA'd, do people reach out to you and let you know that there's been a public information request on that? I'd be so curious if anybody knows the answer on that, so I don't have to go down a Google rabbit hole. That's what I thought too, Deanne. Can you type out how to pronounce your name so I can say that right? I'm so sorry. Is it Deanne? Deanna? Diana? Deanna? Only minors, as I understand. Right. Well, it's public record, but if you can request to have it blurred, I didn't know that. Nick Sicilian said they'll get their flock cameras by hook or crook. Speaking of flock cameras, I didn't add this to the screen from the comments, and this comment just reminded me of it. And I'm going to read this comment because this episode with JJ on Wednesday, it went right over their head, our sarcasm. And this person had said, "You guys are fools. Pushing for more flock cameras? Huh? Most common sense and freedom loving Americans hate these AI 1984 Big Brother total tracking and tracing cameras. Are you guys part of the Govern Me Harder fanboy club? I sure hope not. You seem like fairly smart and down to earth guys. Flock cameras are evil control mechanism used to watch and track our every move, aka loss of our freedom." Now, I'm not sure how that comment even happened, because there is no way that somebody took me saying we need hundreds of them. That's why, JJ, as a serious statement. If they did, let me just clarify. And I hope that everybody in here knows that I'm not pushing for flock cameras, nor is JJ. Does that seem like an obvious rebuttal to that? Did people know that before I already read it? Or if you were to have read that, would you be like, yeah, that person definitely missed the entire point of sarcasm? That is so true. Sarcasm blindness is a real sickness. Yeah, duh. Thank you. I smelled sarcasm from Idaho. Understood the assignment is what Dana said. Right over their head. Lucid Dreaming and Shockface said, because people are, one, either half listening, or two, hear what they want to hear, two, hate you more. That second part is just incredible, isn't it? How your own bias towards somebody. It's something that I've had to really get comfortable being uncomfortable with when I started streaming, but now it's something that is just kind of, it's a part of it. And I would say that to anybody who is posting content about this case, or if you have a business and you post on social media, little, my 2 cents for whatever it's worth. It doesn't matter how hard you try to do something to make everybody happy. You're not going to. And I used to not believe that. I really thought to myself for the majority of my life, if I just do things right enough, nobody will complain. And that is just not accurate. There are some people that are so miserable, or they will try to find something that's wrong. They won't listen to you because you say one thing and their brain shuts off. And I don't know if that has to do with like childhood trauma, or if they just, what it is, but don't worry about that stuff, right? Find your people, find who does like you. And another thing you might notice too, and this is not specifically towards my friends or my family by any means, but in a good way, you find out too by posting, you'll meet people and you'll have people cheer you on over the internet that are complete strangers that give you more support than maybe your family or your friends do. And I've been lucky where that's not the case, but I've heard a lot of people talk about that too, where it's like, man, I post and I feel weird because it's like my friends and my family seeing it. And just know, if you're going to do it long-term, you got to fight through the cringe subconscious thoughts of, oh, this is so cringe. It's not to anybody that is scrolling on their phone. So Mary Jane Oatman said, Major Payne must have poopy pants. He be watching the Hive, Lanapov and Rollo like, fuck. I love how you spelled that. It took me a little bit to realize that. Fuck me and my boys, we are fucked. Is that the tone that you were trying to have it typed out in? Oh, thank you. It's the trauma. Thanks, Mom. Ironic username from saying childhood trauma. Mindful Haze brings up a good point. And that question is, who all in here thinks it's true it was filmed and put on the dark web? I don't know what to believe. I do think a lot of people know about it and don't talk because of being scared. I will bite my tongue before I answer to see some of your answers. Crime Junkie said, I feel like it was live streamed. Altruistic does. Damn it, Deanna. I didn't see the comment of how to pronounce it. I'm so sorry. Can you type it one more time? Potato Shower says, I feel like it is. Nin 40 Jones says possible. Big Forehead, Big Dream says, I'm willing to believe anything in this case. Twisted Timo says 100. Hibiscus Girl said yes. Note to self, I agree. Mallory said, I think it could have been, but I hope it isn't. What's up? It's Given Redaction. Blue Eyed Candy, great to see you. Pug Mama 12 said, I honestly think so. Yes. This is what Okie Dokie Lisa said. One Can Leanne said, if it was on the dark web, I would have found it. Checked, can't find it. Luna said, I feel like if that were true, it would have been leaked by now, but I don't know. That's my take on it. I think there's another part of me that, while yes, I love to speculate, I love to theorize. That is obviously a huge part of this channel. But my favorite way to do that is when it's based in some sort of reality. It's how do you find the gap, or how do you fill the gap, rather? How do you logically bridge build between 2 points? Sometimes I think we lose the plot in this case, and it's hard not to with doing that just because of all the redactions. But to Luna's point, I don't think it was. And the reason why is because all of the videos that are on TikTok or that are on Instagram or that are pushed via social media, it's like any other Bigfoot film. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like a bunch of filters. It's glitchy. It's pixelated. And going back to what Luna said, I feel as if it would have been leaked. I also feel as if it's very strange. Not that we're asking to see bodies. I can't believe there's not a completely unredacted photo out or body cam. I'm sure people have seen the photo of Brent Kopaka completely unredacted, and that crime scene. Oof. And you look at that and you're like, damn. You have that same feeling when you're scrolling on X, or if you open up your Facebook, you see Charlie Kirk get shot in the neck. You're like, holy hell. Mindful Hayes said, but just like everything else in this case, though, shit just disappears. That's true. But I feel like you wouldn't put it on the dark web to have it disappear. And if you're going to be posting a murder film, a snuff film on the internet, wouldn't you feel like it would be tough that you would make it in a way that maybe it wouldn't be able to be taken down, or it would be put there for, I don't know. I see both arguments because that rumor has been so strong. It's just, in my opinion, if I had to pick one or the other, I would say probably not. No. Doesn't mean I'm right. We could do a whole stream on everything that's vanished or been almost completely mind-hold. I agree, Danger Zone. Pineapple Diana said, just like the video of Perez Hilton was taken down, you still have a screenshot here and there. Yeah. Totally agree. Totally agree. Oh, yes, you did, Mallory. Yes, you did. Love and Other Habits said, I was backstage last night. Couldn't last. Consider body cam was released before the updated crime scene pics. The time was used to fabricate 1122 and 8-hour red herrings. They used our imagination. That's the type of discussions that we're going to have to start to have. And that to me that makes sense. Think about the people that would have to be coming and going from that house to avoid every camera, to not talk outside. I understand that maybe people could say, well, they knew where the cameras were. Everybody knew. So were they told this is where the camera is? How do they know that somebody didn't have one elsewhere that people didn't know about? How do they know that somebody wouldn't have been driving by, heard something, pulled their phone out and recorded a bunch of kids running away? So to your point, Love and Other Habits, about the official, the official security footage, I don't think that that's necessarily a stretch either. Oh, Jesus. Hive, I have to attend to some husband duties, very important husband duty. Mrs. Birdie has to go to work right now, and she goes, I'm so sorry. I can't zip my dress. I have no other option. I'm coming over there, and I need help zipping it. So, hi. Well, no, I'll come over there. It'll be the most viewed stream. One second. All right. Miserable fail. The zipper's frayed, and then it got stuck, and my fingers hurt now. She's just like, I'll have to get something else to wear. So, no, that zipper, we're not saving that zipper. It's like the zipper twists under, and it's like spread apart. So, anyways, we are all good. Now, what did we leave off on? I did try. I gave it a solid effort. Texas Gigi said, you can't film what never happened. Just saying. So I'll let you guys in on a sneak peek of what one of the episodes is going to be about in my 4-part series. As a reminder, if you missed last night, I have a 4-part series The videos will drop at noon, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And it's very interesting. It's going to be hard to explain without a bunch of visuals. However, I feel as if some of the Idaho codes in the document, I went down a rabbit hole, and it had everything to do with the codes used in the motions to seal with witnesses. And anyways, I started doing a bunch of research on it. If you remember back to like January, I'm looking at my notes, January 16, 2025, prosecutors filed motion to seal stipulation to allow out-of-state witnesses to testify via Zoom. Okay. The judge temporarily granted that sealing request pending a hearing. However, there's an important catch. The language that's used in that sealing is almost word for word from Idaho Code 74-124, which lists the statutory reasons law enforcement investigate records may be withheld, including confidential source identity and investigative techniques. That same list of reasons is copied into numerous completely different sealing motions of the Koberger versus the state of Idaho court case summary. What does that mean? That's what one of the episodes is about. And it had a little bit to do with why Shannon Gray might have been the attorney that was picked and what Shannon Gray has worked on in the past when it comes to witnesses or people being protected. If you guys read between the lines, a little bit of a spoiler alert there, but I think it'll open up some people's eyes because it's in the actual documents explicitly stated, and the court is explicitly protecting things such as like a new location of residence. And I'm not saying that that means WITSEC, but it establishes certain patterns. I thought it was very interesting. I really enjoyed making that series. I think the reason why I enjoyed it too is the thing that makes it chat in the Hive special is it's everybody. It was very challenging, as I said last night, to sit here and talk to myself with no feedback, but creatively it was awesome. It was awesome to chase these rabbit holes without having a million other takes on it, which there's a time and a place for all of them. So I hope you guys enjoy it, or I hope it at least makes you all think. And that's okay. So now that just sparked my memory. Thank you for the patience on that. That had to do with Love and Other Love and Other Habits super chat that they had sent, which was, could it have been used to fabricate 1122 in the red hour or the red herring of the 8-hour delay? They use their imagination. It's things that are unaccounted for. And that's the whole premise of the series. Mallory said, because we can sidetrack you. Clench Sphincter, how are you doing? Splendid Melancholy said, the only evidence I saw of enough blood was that it trailed down the wall outside. Otherwise, not enough. Even the blood. Let me ask you all this. What I would actually be willing to put in time and effort if this will open up people's eyes to how crazy it is that they left that blood. And when I say put in time and effort, I'm saying some sort of survey. I will call crime scene cleanup companies. I will ask them, is it normal that if blood leaks outside of a house, you leave it there, whether it's planned to be demolished or not? Is there any sort of OSHA violation or whatever crime scene cleanup license rules you need to follow, licensee rules you have to follow? What crime scene company or crime scene cleanup company worth their license would ever leave blood anywhere? And it's protected by a wobbly fence that you can climb, you can slide. It's held down by sandbags. That's exactly right, Philly girl. It's a biohazard. And that's what I thought too, that maybe it wasn't blood, but evidently it was. So either way, if it's blood, why wasn't it cleaned up? And if it wasn't blood, why did they let us use our imaginations and tell us that it was? Are you all following me on that? They would put a tarp up at the front door to not see what things were carried in or out of the house, but they'll leave that blood there. That's a great take too, Danger Zone. If the real purpose was community healing, wipe up the dang blood. It's also the photo that was used on every front page and every broadcast for a long time. And we've combed through body cam and we've tried to get a freeze frame of prior dates to see if that was there, if it was a pipe that was leaking rust. I'm not sure. It looks like rust. It looks like blood, depending on what you're told. The other thing that I've always thought about, and again, now this is the beauty of the Saturdays, is because there's really not a plan. We just kind of can go all over. Do you remember when I had done the stream when Officer Snyder's body cam was released and he was taking the photos, and on the little screen for the next photo on his phone, so he took a photo, and then the little thumbnail preview that's on an iPhone in the bottom right corner or bottom left corner that shows you the last photo you just took? Do you remember when we had zoomed in on that and it looked as if it was a body in the hallway? What I don't understand about that and where that redacted box is, I've always felt like that redacted box is in a different location than where they've shown any of the victims laying, Xana or Ethan. It looks like the person's perched up slightly. And even where Xana's location would be, I don't know. It just has always felt slightly off. Marsha Mayhew said, like I said, this could all be staged to try and get the cartel for the murders they are trying to catch. Again, it's something that for a long time I've always kept in the back of my head. I've always kept that in the back of my head. But as weird as it sounds, sometimes in addition to that really offending people by saying that, it's not like that's never been done in the past with these three-letter agencies. And sometimes, even if that's not the case, it feels like people don't want that to be the case. It really feels like people want this to be real so that they can solve it. And there's nothing that's public that's pointing to how we can solve it to an extent, right? Danger Zone has a question for the Hive, and that says, what do you guys think is more likely? They were protecting ongoing operation or a botched operation that was partially successful except for this one hiccup? Now, that second part seems to mesh with a lot of my own personal theories, is that a lot of things were going on peripherally. College-age students that are in Greek life have sketchy things that were most likely going to be exposed through questioning that does come into the spotlight when people dive into it. However, the coordination between the university, the police, the FBI, and the media make me tend to believe that second part, which is some sort of botched operation that was partially successful, except for this one hiccup. And the partially successful dynamic of it could be everybody getting these awards and given maybe the task that they were given was such a giant win overall that it was still a win in these agencies' books. I'm not sure. Yes, Sid 7, I've gotten a lot of people that seem to think through that lens, or they see it through that lens, and I'm very excited to continue to go through the email inbox in the Discord. But Sid 7, I feel like I've read yours, and I have so many things. That's another thing too. I have so many things that are on slides from people that have sent stuff from a Hive Mind find that we just haven't gotten to. And it's just in my records. And so again, it's never personal to anybody. It's just the sheer volume. And I know my mods can confirm that too. It's a great problem to have, but unfortunately some things do get missed. Tamcam, thank you for the super chat. Said, I work in the hospital and sometimes patients remove their own IVs and it looks like a murder scene. So definitely lack of blood for what happened. Just Google OJ crime scene and that's only 2 people. Yes. I've used the analogy of bloody noses, cut fingers. When Mrs. Birdie and I went to Mexico for one of my work trips, where if you finish in a certain part of the company for standings and sales, they'll take you on a trip. And I hate seafood and I hate raw food. And where we went, it was only raw food and seafood. And so I, for 5 days, lived off of room service cheeseburgers and chips and guac. And it was delicious. Not complaining about that. I actually enjoyed it. I ended up losing weight on that trip. However, the last day, like the second last day that we were there, I got chips and guac. And they have those, they look like tile plates, ceramic plates. And I went to go move something, a t-shirt, and it slid the ceramic plate with the guac that I had just completely housed. It started to slide towards the end of the table. And when I went to go catch it from falling, my hand went through, like I brought my hand up so quickly and the plate cracked on my pinky. I don't know if you guys will be able to see that. No, probably not. But I have a massive scar and I bled all over that room. Just walking from the sliding glass doors in a hotel room to the bathroom. I remember thinking to myself, like, oh man, I'm going to have to go to a hospital. It was rough. I didn't go, but now I have a puffy scar because of it. Fingers bleed a ton. Oh man, when guac bites back, shit gets real. True. You know, the funny part too, and not to go off on a tangent, but I was 29 years old at that point. And I felt like a child at my grandma's house being made and forced to try all the food. And I just wanted to be like, I am damn near 30 years old. I know what I like and what I don't like. And even my coworkers like, you're really not going to try that, bro. And I'm like, why am I defending myself to a group of adults at a restaurant? Like, I'm just chilling. I'm hanging out. I'm having my drink. I'm having the bread and butter. I'm not a picky eater. I just don't like raw food. Anyways, I digress. Let's move on to some stuff from the comments, which I love this section. Caden on my TikTok, I believe this is from, had said this. I'd never heard this before. Or if I have, it's been a long time, to the point where I said I need to screenshot this and put this on a slide now. Caden said, it's interesting how nobody's bringing up the fact that he went to school with one of the girl's sisters, talking about Brian Koberger, and was in the same class as one of the girl's sister. I fully believe he didn't commit the crimes, but he definitely walked them through it to clean it up so that they didn't get caught. But one person cannot do all of that in such a short period of time. And I believe the reason why there wasn't any blood leaving the house is because the person was already in the house. No one entered the house. A person was already there. Now, am I completely blanking on somebody's sister going to school with Brian Koberger? And if I am, and this is a massive brain fart, but who would have been in the same class? That's a connection right there. And I don't feel like that's well known, if it is. Does anybody know? All right. Have you heard this before? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Oh, they're talking about Jasmine, Xana's sister. Duh. But I didn't know that they were in the same class. I knew Xana's sister went to WSU, but the same class is. Yeah, that's what I thought. It's giving redaction. Can't remember mentioning the class with them. Yeah, Ben Folds Kick said he was a PhD. She was an undergrad. Thank you, Lisa Longhorn, UK, for the jewels. Lisa Longhorn from the UK. Were you from Texas and moved to the UK, or are you from the UK and moved to Texas? I would love to live in Texas. I feel like Texas or Arizona would fit Mrs. Birdie and I well, or Vegas. I feel like Vegas would be a lot of fun. Luna said assumptions stated as fact. Dawn said, could it mean year? I know. People love how I say Vegas. All right. Well, I've also, too, I feel as if now is a good time to take a little break and do what we do on every Saturday, which is on Saturdays, I do a giveaway for people that are a part of Hive Plus. And that giveaway, if you win, we will send you a link to our merch store. You get to pick out any piece of merch that you'd like for free. And I do this every time that I do a war room. Sometimes I'll do it on Friday nights or some sort of bigger stream if we hit 1,000 likes. But on the war room days, I will always do it. And so this hashtag today, somebody give me a fun hashtag. Because I don't just want to do Hive or Birdie every time. Let's get creative. Make the hashtag piss horse. Killer Quack. Oh, I saw it. Hashtag bear. All right. Type out hashtag bear. At least somebody will get something out of that FOIA 413 footage other than a chuckle or a laugh. It is not case sensitive. You just have to put a hashtag before it, and it is singular bear. I thought that was a good one. That makes sense to do. Welcome, Dana Baby 98. Thank you for joining Hive Plus. I'll also give a shout out to Lisa Longhorn again for being a Hive Plus member for 4 months. Lucy Lou Bug for the jewels. Texas Gigi, welcome. Reality Check. Laura. Sid7 had said, and thank you for the super chat, determining the type of cover up can help us narrow down. I emailed over a presentation. Let me pull that up. Crow and Rainbow, welcome. Used Canva. That's right. All right, I'll give it another 10 seconds. All righty. Here we go. And the winner is. Oh, damn, Brandon. Mindful Haze. Wow. Congratulations, Mindful Haze. All you need to do is send a email to birdieshivemind@gmail.com and we will get you that link. Congratulations and thank you to everybody who, again, is a Hive Plus member. I'll do this every time I do a War Room. As a reminder, again, I've said it a bunch of times, but Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, check out the videos that I have going live at noon. And then Friday, I'll be back in town doing a call-in, and Saturday, we'll do a War Room. So Fridays and Saturdays, I always enjoy because Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is from a preparation standpoint, it's a lot, right? It's a lot to put together the streams. And so Fridays and Saturdays, it's great that it's a collective show. And so that'll be fun to come back from vacation, go right into the call-ins, go right into a War Room. Poor Brandon. I had the same thought. Oh my God. That's like, have you all ever seen this video of, have you ever seen the video of the golfer who hits the same person at a tournament 2 times in a row? That's what I feel like is happening to Brandon, where he's just like, make it stop. I've never seen anything like that. So this is hilarious. Let me get it full screen first. This poor woman. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? I just can't believe that somebody yelled, make her cut it out. Oh my God, dude. That's got to be the worst. Poor Brandon. Brandon. Oh, my stomach hurts from laughing. Holy hell. Whew. All right, one more time. One more time.
First aid. Yeah, they're coming. They have first aid on the way. Can we ask you all to move back over here, please?
They backed people off. They backed people off. Oh my God, that's incredible. Oh. Wow, I have not laughed that hard in a very long time. And kind of at Brandon's peril, because I picture that every time that his name starts to, if that happens again, Brandon, we will just send you the link. Okay, bro. We don't want to cause any more trauma for you. Think Twice said, I tried to play in high school. Coach said, this is not for you. Yeah, I was on golf. I was good at golf, just not consistent. I feel like I could look like Tiger Woods on one hole and then look like a drunk who is blindfolded playing lefty on the next. I was so hit or miss. All right, moving on. Focus. That was funny. Now, I do have the cover up presentation from Sydney pulled up, so we'll take a peek at that. And then this is also from the comments, and it is from Emily. This was sent last night. It said the firecrackers that Bethany mentioned wasn't a lie. You can hear it at 2:40 a.m. on the 1112. Those girls are being threatened. Mixed truth and lie. It's all in the hips. I need my Waterbury Classic hat. I should have grabbed that. All right, let me pull this up. Are you guys, and give me some feedback, are you guys liking these Saturdays where it's much more free flowing and relaxed like this? I feel like I haven't asked that in a while. I enjoy it. And I think that's maybe why I try to do as many of these as I can, because I hadn't been streaming on Saturdays, but there's some suggestions for it. And I've really been enjoying it. Kind of just that it's all over the place. All right. Note to self said, I love it, but I'm new. Well, welcome, note to self. All right. So what was it was 2:40, 50 seconds. Volume's all the way up. $2:40 and 50 seconds. All right, I'll go to 2:40 and 35 to have a little bit of lead time. Could you guys just hear that, or do I need to reshare it? Because sometimes, for whatever reason, when I open up YouTube and I share it, it doesn't. So I'm going to play this. Tell me if you guys can hear this. Nobody's answering. Okay. All right, here we go. So 2:40, when this gets when 31 or 32 gets to 50 is when Emily says you can hear firecrackers. Okay. I didn't hear anything. I'm going to screen record it on my phone and pull it up, but I'll let this play. Okay, Hive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just let this keep playing for a little bit. And I have it screen recorded. So give me a minute to get it put onto a slide, but continue to listen. I feel like in a way I've become so desensitized to those noises and to really think what those are not correlating to any of the murders. They've said that is way before the murders. And there are people that can hear that and will think, oh yeah, it's not a party noise. Where's the music? Where's the other surrounding chatter? There's not. It is one or two voices yelling loudly, shrieking, crying, begging, moaning, whatever you want to say. It's not a party noise. And I have that here. I just saw Accomplished Days super chat, which is wild. And I'll pull that up in a second after this. It's louding. Yeah. All right. All right, here we go. Get it pulled up. So true, Danger Zone. The one and only Mert said none of that shit happened inside. All right, this is going to be significantly louder if anybody has headphones. Like at the end, you can kind of hear something. I don't know. I hear a lot of stuff. Now, let me get through the last two slides and then just so that I make sure, because for the Hive Mind Finds, this is also a rather crazy coincidence. So thank you to Emily and Caden for those comments. And now to the Hive Mind Finds. This comes from Cos 8619, and it looks like it's a screenshot from X, and this is from Loyalty GHMB that they screenshotted. It says, so look, I found a coincidence in this case that not many people know about. What are the chances that the friend of Brian, Christian M., who showed Brian Koberger's text on TV, was convicted last year for killing Molly McMichael's ex-father-in-law in a car crash in Pullman? Loyalty then goes on to say the following, and that is, I spent an afternoon confirming the victim was Molly's deceased husband's Pat father. Now it's all scrubbed off the internet. I must have it somewhere. In the meantime, in another pattern in this case, Pat had an identical twin. Charles Patrick Michael, 42, of Moscow, passed away at the Gritman Medical Center on November 10th, 2013, following a tragic incident. He was born September 5th, 1971. With an identical twin brother, Robert Shad, to Connie Eugenia McMichael in Riverdale, Georgia. He is survived by his wife, Molly Marie Segota, or McMichael, and three children, Isaac, Tess, and an older son, Jesse, from his first wife, Amy S. Huffstutler. His twin brother, Shad, a second brother, Toby Walker, and his father, Doyle, parents-in-law, and it just continues to go through. Then it's just other names. But wow. Yeah, 2013. That is a crazy coincidence. How does that even line up? Sherlock, good to see you, man. I can pull it up. I will pull that up. Is there any copyrighted music in it or anything? I got another damn copyright strike the other day, which sucks. Right? What the hell? And Sherlock had said that the short is showing the firecracker thing occurs repetitively all throughout the 2:20 to 3:20 a.m. So then could it be a firecracker? Right? I'm never going. Well, I would go to Idaho. So thank you to Kaz 8619. Okay. I know that Diggs and Worms had sent something about this. Jeep Overlanders had said something about this. There were a lot of people posting screen grabs, so I kind of combined two of them. And this is the $90 bear / somebody standing in front of their truck from our FOIA from the 451 Paradise Drive surveillance at 4:13 in the morning that they did not include in the FBI report. And so when we had got that, we were thinking to ourselves, holy hell, could you imagine if a white car is driving by at 4:13 and they just excluded it? No, it's a motion censored light on a driveway that shows either wildlife or somebody in front of the car. Why it was sent, I don't know. Why they kept it in there and released it to us, I also don't know. But here is a zoomed in picture. These were two of the better ones that I could find, and they're talking about right in front of the car here, two legs. I can see that. I can actually see that. And I'll draw it on here. From an outline standpoint, I could see it. And then over here on the right, same thing, kind of the head. You guys' comments are cracking me up. It's a much better argument for a person than what we had. Could we all at least agree on that? Because when I saw this, I'm like, oh, there is that. I can see why, but that's nowhere near the movement that we seem to have saw on the footage. And I want to do this because I feel like I don't necessarily think so, but I'm curious what you all think. And that is, and you could type a 1 for yes, 2 for no. That is the 4:13 a.m. Paradise Drive surveillance footage that we got, is it relevant to anything? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Again, would you FOIA request it? And one of the things that's like when I say fun, it's a weird word to use, but I try to only watch it enough to edit it to make sure that it is, if it's cut into pieces, I will stitch them together and edit it together. But I do my best to not watch it before the stream because I want to live react with you all. Some people are saying yes. It puts somebody potentially outside during that time. Right. And I'm talking just specifically the 413 footage, not the other ones, because I agree with you, Luna. It's relevant that it doesn't look like Brian's car before. At the other times, 335, 338, and 343, I believe. So kind of split on that, which is what I was expecting. Okay, and then here's another one, Heart of Gold. I wanted to make sure that I showed these because that was quite the discussion on Wednesday with JJ. And Heart of Gold had said, attention, Hive, Mods, and Birdie, watch the video and tell everyone what you see. If you see a bear, hit the bear. If you see a person, hit the person. If you see a car, put a car, and so on. If you can't see anything or something else because you smoked devil's lettuce today, hit question mark. Thanks. I'm also attaching photos of where the video is facing. Well, thank you, Heart of Gold, for the detail. And they have a video here, but as a reminder, this is the angle that we are looking at. This is from a Google Street View. So this is where the car would be parked. If you could see my cursor on the screen on the right, or on the photo on the right, that car would be right in this location. So I will play this and let's see. Right there. Watch the back of this car. I'll let it play all the way through. Right here.
Oh yeah, I see something moving over there.
Yeah. I can zoom. See, and then the person in the front, then it's like the person in the front, it looks like that, but that's not anywhere where the movement's coming from. Right there. Watch the back of this car. I'll let it play all the way through. And so here you can kind of see what looks to be something leaning against there too, but that does what we just saw over here by the car, unless it's their shadow. I don't know. Last time I'll let it play. Right here.
Oh yeah, I see something moving over there.
Yeah. I can zoom. Huh. Nonetheless, it was a very interesting live, to say the least. Now, all right, we got this sent to us from Sid. Very detailed, just to show you guys too beforehand. Look at the bottom of this window. And it's just crazy to me that there are thousands of people doing this for this case, and it's not taken seriously by any officials, it seems. So I'm going to go through a couple of these. Obviously, we don't have time for the entire thing, but I would say, Sid, if you haven't posted that in the Discord, or if you don't want to, obviously don't, but I will also be going through this as well. And maybe if you're okay with it, just maybe give me a thumbs up for screen grabbing and highlighting maybe some of the top slides for a Hive Mind find. If so, let me know. Okay, thank you, Sid. You rock. Okay, let's check this out. The anatomy of compromised investigations and the making of a Fall Guy / Patsy. Love the animations. I'm going to move myself up here to the corner. The objective of this is, if it is a cover-up, our goal is to determine which type. The type reveals the why. Why was there a cover-up? What were they covering up? Knowing the why narrows our search for the truth. This presentation is an independent analysis designed for educational and analytical purposes only. The frameworks and theories discussed are based on observation of investigative patterns and publicly available information. This content is not intended as legal advice, nor should it be interpreted as a formal accusation against any specific individual, agency, or organization. Viewers are encouraged to think critically, verify public records, and draw their own independent conclusions. I already know Sammy's loving that, which I appreciate. Sammy's always on me about that. Be on the lookout. There will be action steps / next steps at the end, but as we go through this presentation, jot down and look for new avenues we can explore that we haven't yet. The types of cover-ups. Who pulls the strings? In a botched investigation with negligence or incompetence, there's no mastermind. It's driven by gross incompetence, poor training, and systemic chaos. Then there's institutional and police corruption, where law enforcement manipulating the system to protect themselves or their colleagues from criminal liability. Federal shield / protecting an operation. Federal agencies force local police to look the other way to protect a massive multi-year undercover sting from being exposed in a local trial. Political / VIP, which would be protecting power and wealth. High-level intervention by private fixers to insulate politicians, celebrities, or billionaires or the wealthy from ruin. Economic / PR, protecting university in town. Institutional pressure, university or major employer forcing a specific narrative to protect revenue, enrollment, and local real estate. So I agree. This is great. Now, what are we thinking right away from our initial thoughts? When I read federal shield, and I know everybody's got their own opinions on it. Like, federal shield to me, after hearing these police interviews with so many of the kids where the feds could be forcing the local police to look the other way to protect a massive multi-year undercover sting from being exposed in a local trial. We've seen two massive groups, being the Aryan Knights and then the local leader of the Sinaloa cartel, taken down shortly after. The economic and PR makes a lot of sense too, where there's institutional pressure to force a specific narrative. Actually, all of these almost make sense, don't they? That's what some people are saying. It's the trauma. Thanks, Mom said all of it. Think Twice said, yep, basically all of them. Altruistic Murder said, I would go with Federal Shield. Danger Zone said basically all of them. Same with Joneson. Moving on. The metrics of a cover-up, analyzing the breakdown across critical phases. Crime scene preservation. How was the physical perimeter treated from day one? Questionable. Evidence processing. How was the biological and digital data handled or mishandled? Questionable. Witness interviews. How were the surviving witnesses treated and managed? Poor. Pursuit of leads. What data was actively ignored? Poor. Public communication. What story was fed to the media? It was a story filled with narrative. And the fall guy, who is the suspect? Brian Christopher Koberger. Nobody else. Crime scene preservation. Okay, so this is now going back to the types of cover-ups. Botched investigation would mean that it was contaminated by untrained first responders tracking through the scene. The perimeter is too small, allowing journalists / locals to trample outside evidence. I would say the first half of that would be true. Institutional, the scene is altered to remove elements implicating the police. Entry points are wiped down before the crime scene unit arrives. Evidence is staged. Well, there certainly seems to be a cleanup, but no evidence of a cleanup. The sheath, depending on who your source is, may or may not have been there. Moving on to the Federal Shield, local police are ordered to maintain a loose perimeter and ignore illicit ties to ensure a larger operation isn't exposed. For the political / VIP, instead of calling 911, powerful people call lawyers and private security first. This team locks down the property and uses legal loopholes to block local cops from coming inside until they have time to clean up the mess. Now, that's an interesting take. I don't know too much about these legal loopholes. Is anybody in here where instead of calling 911, powerful people could call lawyers and private security first? That team locks down the property and would use a legal loophole to block local cops. Let me just Google this quick. Sounds, how do you say illegal? Jones said the sorority and the frats cleaned up and they didn't have a lawyer. They have to call the university ahead of time before the cops. Well, we do know that the process of how you're reporting something to the campus, if you're in Greek life, we've read through that steps and procedures where, if I'm remembering correctly, my memory serves me right. Didn't we have it explicitly in writing saying you're not to call the police? I remember that being so mind-blowing to me. Sherlock said the term legal loophole is being used very loosely here. That's nothing short of a legal cover. So Idaho, Title 19, Chapter 41, they have a no, quote, stop the cop statute. If the officers have probable cause, meaning blood, screams, a 911 hangup, they can enter under those circumstances. Attorney gatekeeping. Cops generally respect a lawyer's request to pause questioning, but cannot be kept off scene once they lawfully enter. Now, this is interesting. They have a private security licensing code in Idaho. Code 542904 is what I'm seeing here, and that's guards must yield to any peace officer acting in official capacity. Huh. I'm just reading. A lot of this is just jargon. It's bringing up this word. I'm going to put this in the chat. I don't even know how to say it. It's saying it's the root. It's saying this. That strategy comes from this word in the chat. What does that mean? I'll Google that, but I'm curious if anybody's seen that. Because I see like knots and magnets. It's the mapping or the process used to record measurements of a crime scene. It's a sketch that's a simple drawing of the crime scene and does not by itself become a straight reference line. It's just drawn between two fixed points. Measurements are taken perpendicular to this sketch. I don't know what that would be. If anybody can dig on that and find more, because my Google's not pulling up much. It's the sketch of the locality of the crime scene made without measurements to illustrate the physical location of the scene and to orient subsequent sketches. Huh. Did not know that. So, yeah, we do have that for this one. I feel like they've released that stuff of the crime scene sketches. Yeah, so it's a rough, big forehead, big dreams is saying rough drawing of the crime scene. Going on to the crime scene preservation, back to the economic/PR. The crime scene is cleaned and cleared out unnaturally fast by university contracted crews to minimize visual trauma from the campus, permanent crime scene destruction before trial, and closing the case before public cross-examination. Evidence processing, botched investigation, evidence degrades due to poor storage, mislabeling, or chaotic lab protocols. Institutional body cam footage is deleted. Physical evidence goes missing from lockers. Federal evidence that might trigger hits on federal databases or expose active undercover operations is intentionally delayed or ignored. Political or VIP, any DNA, digital communications, or financial ties linking the crime to the VIP are erased. The fall guy is perfectly preserved and handed over. Economic PR. Selective evidence is interpreted to support a less damaging narrative. University admin pressures campus police to hand over only evidence that points away from the university, ignoring frat house ties, donor kids, or athlete involvement. I agree with that. Big forehead, big dreams, big time. Mobius sometimes to mean infinite possibilities. Yeah, because I was seeing a lot of math stuff with magnets, and I wonder if it had to do with the infinite possibilities of, I'm not sure. I'm not even going to act like I can determine that, but Splendid got that answer from AI. Thank you for doing that, Splendid. Okay, witness interviews. In a botched investigation, witnesses aren't separated right away. They are left together, which cross-contaminates memories. Interviews are delayed or poorly documented. Interviewers use leading questions, accidentally planting false memories and traumatized witnesses. Institutional witnesses are explicitly coerced or intimidated into supporting a police-approved narrative. Federal Shield detectives conduct artificially gentle interviews, legally barred from pressuring witnesses on underworld connections that might disrupt a federal sting. A federal gag order, interviewees likely primed. We had talked about priming a witness and what that would look like. Political/VIP, surviving housemates or witnesses are forced to sign massive multi-million-dollar non-disclosure agreements or NDAs and threatened with ruinous litigation if they speak. Economic/PR students and faculty are pressured by admin not to speak to the press. They are subtly threatened by administration, risking expulsion, loss of scholarships, loss of tenure if they speak to outside media or the feds. This is good, Sydney. Witness interviews. For a botched investigation, they are visibly confused and emotional, offering shifting narratives. First responders failed to isolate them. They sat in a room with other witnesses for hours, absorbing rumors and crosstalk. Ding, ding, ding. Their organic memories blurry from groupthink. Institutional. Appear intimidated, oddly defensive, reciting a stiff, unnatural timeline while seeking the detective's approval before answering. Ding, ding, ding. Federal Shield. Interviewee 1, unnaturally calm, stoic, or mildly bored, showing zero panic about being in a homicide interview or being Hunter Johnson and laughing in it, saying you don't remember your buddy's name. They are unnaturally calm, completely stoic, or mildly bored. They do not show the typical panic of someone brought into a quadruple homicide investigation. If it's a syndicate soldier, they sit in total silence. If it's an informant, they might even seem friendly with the detectives. Interviewee 2 appears confused and likely lying, hypervigilant, sweating, and suffering from sudden, absurd, quote, blindness. For the political and VIP interviews, you would have a smug, suffering from strategic amnesia, or completely absent, submitting often highly sanitized pre-written statements. Economic or the PR for the campus would be anxious about their personal future rather than the crime. They self-censor and regurgitate institutional talking points. We always felt so safe on campus, or no, there were no problems in the fraternity, or nothing ever happens here in Moscow. I mean, we've seen, I'm going to, a lot of these are right on. Okay, pursuit of leads. For botched investigation, detectives have confirmation bias. They lock onto a bizarre clue or socially awkward suspect and ignore contradictory data. Investigators bury leads that point to the true connected perpetrator. Honest detectives who find leads are pointing to fellow officers are reassigned, threatened, or ordered by the precinct captain to drop the inquiry. Federal Shield command staff suppresses any leads pointing to organized crime, steering the investigation away from federal targets. For the political and VIP folks, built against a pre-selected scapegoat to divert attention away from the VIP, and the investigation is reverse engineered. Detectives start with the fall guy and work backward, ignoring any evidence that points towards the VIP. The investigation exclusively targets outsiders. He was an outsider. It wasn't Idaho on Idaho. The goal is to definitively prove the danger did not originate from within the student body or local institutions. The public view. Chaotic, contradictory. Press conferences are defensive. The public senses the police are disorganized and in over their heads when it comes to a botched investigation. For the institutional point of view, the police hold somber press conferences claiming that they are working tirelessly despite a lack of physical leads. Federal Shield, the police intentionally push a lone wolf narrative to lull the actual organized crime targets into a false sense of security before a raid. Political VIP, the VIP is portrayed as a tragic cooperative witness, while a high-powered PR firm pushes a senseless act by a disturbed loner narrative. For the college or any economic PR, the heavy PR spin, premature university press releases emphasize that this was an isolated incident or isolated attack, and the campus is 100% secure for the upcoming semester. There is no ongoing threat. This is bang on, as our UK folks say. Botched investigation, the unlucky weirdo, a socially awkward person who looks guilty due to confirmation bias and circumstantial evidence. Locals believe they have the right person despite weak evidence. Institutional would be a habitual offender, known local petty criminal with a long rap sheet and zero credibility with the jury. Federal shield, the perfect patsy, an unaffiliated outsider with zero underworld ties, pinning the crime and then perfectly insulates the larger federal operation from a local court discovery. Can be a willing person or a CI looking to earn their stripes or a trusted soldier within the organized crime ring. For the political or the VIP, the loyal, today, Junior, the loyal pawn, inner circle staffer who was physically close enough to make the narrative believable. They are either bought off with a massive payout or coerced by the promise of future power. Take the fall. When you get out, your family will be wealthy and you will have lucrative career behind the scenes. The drifter, a local town resident or an unaffiliated outsider to assure nervous parents the danger did not come from within the school. I mean, Sydney, this presentation is spot on. And so theory one would be chaos and containment, which is a combination of botched investigation and economic PR. Or theory two would be the masked operation federal shield botched investigation with economic PR. So for theory one, it's a disastrous combination of a botched initial response immediately followed by institutional PR and economic damage control. Theory two would be a coordinated federal or systemic shield that actively uses theory one as camouflage. The operation hides its intentional sanitization behind excused incompetence. You already know what's coming. What theory do you think lines up the most accurately? 1 for 1, 2 for 2. This is good, Sydney, because it's educational as well. It's good for everybody to learn this, myself included. It seems like you can't have theory two without theory one. Majority of people said two. I'm just kind of scrolling through these. Okay. So theory one, the money trail is obvious because local municipalities aren't used to spending millions overnight. You will find public records of the university putting a $500,000 crisis management firm on retainer a mere 12 hours after the bodies were found. This proves the primary objective was brand control, not justice. You see the little light bulb go off. Theory two is the masked operation. There is a suspicious lack of local spending despite massive resources being deployed. If you see mobile command centers, specialized data extraction units, and elite search teams on the ground, but none of it shows up on the local city council's budget requests, it means federal money is quietly paying for the operation. That's such a great slide. That's what following the money should look like right there. The legal pushback tell. Theory one said when independent journalists or defense attorneys push for records, the local prosecutor throws up standard roadblocks. They cite ongoing investigation rules, or the university cites student privacy. It is a stubborn wall, but a good lawyer can eventually crack it in a civil court. Theory 2, for the masked operation, the legal pushback is sudden, powerful. Local prosecutors step aside as federal attorneys step in. They invoke classified information, procedures, or sealed documents at the federal level. This makes local civil discovery very difficult. That's what I was just thinking, Big Forehead, Big Dreams. Theory 1 leads to Theory 2. Same thing, Blogger Girl, both simultaneously. In Theory 1, the cleanup and demolition tell, after the 911 call, the cleanup feels rushed by the property owners. The university or a wealthy alumni coalition step in to buy the property and demolish it. The stated reason is community healing, but the actual execution is sloppy, with the perimeter left loosely guarded by local campus security before the bulldozers arrive. For the masked operation, or Theory 2, before the 911 call, the cleanup is handled by highly specialized out-of-state contractors before the university even gets involved. They use military-grade chemical agents to neutralize biological evidence, but they do it quietly, under the cover of darkness, long before a public demolition is announced. The evidence degrading. Evidence is ruined through sheer negligence in Theory 1, which an example would be leaving beds in a house for 2 months happens because the local police physically didn't know what to do with them. Theory 2 for the mass operation would be evidence is ruined strategically. The beds are left in the house not out of incompetence, but to intentionally break the chain of custody. Just kind of going through what we talked about with who the suspect would be. This is so good. So a lot of it is action steps at the end. It says, important to note, when we know the type of cover-up, we learn why it happened. When we know why it happened, we narrow in on the who. Okay, so this will be an interesting few slides. This seems like it's a prediction slide series. How it would unfold in regards to Brian Koberger's request to withdraw the guilty plea, demanding new appointed legal counsel. What will happen? How it looks in the media. The financial burden for a narcissist. Pundits frame the filing as the acts of a manipulative narcissist abusing the legal system. Media will emphasize the taxpayer burden and millions already spent on his defense team. The media might blame the true crime community, blaming creators and their hundreds of thousands of followers for fueling his narcissism. How it will unfold. No chance, weak defense, local institutional self-preservation triggers, procedural strangulation. State maneuvers to assign a compliant public defender to stall the petition on administrative grounds. How would you track it? Well, you'd look at the extensions and budget spikes for the appointed counsel, the discovery battles, the local meetings, etc. Yep, it's already happening. That's right, Teary Dawn. What will happen? This is Theory 2. This is for the masked operation, and in parentheses, it says the false promise. False patsy promises leads to a patsy gone rogue. Chosen as a patsy to insulate a macro level federal operation under an off the books promise of release. Fixers reneged on the deal after operation concluded. He goes rogue to expose the betrayal. Media would frame the new counsel request as extreme paranoia or delusional behavior. Blinds are closed, meaning authorities deploy high-level legal lockdowns to legally blind the new appointed counsel. The state or federal entities would invoke methods and sources, classified information, blocking out old files. Look into the protective orders, the custody lockdown, national security invocations, and the defense budget starvation. That's right, Sherlock. Fuel is narcissism? What? Defendants are legally allowed a criminal defense. What the bleep are they even talking about? The premise for theory 2 is a controlled burn. I certainly feel like there has been a controlled burn even before reading the slide. It's all part of the plan, a pre-planned controlled burn where fixers instructed him to file the petition and blame his lawyers. Creates a legal mechanism to extract him without exposing official misconduct or systemic rot. The media coverage will soften and pivot over time. State prosecutors will put up a performative weak fight before conceding the ineffective counsel. I could see that happening. And how we're going to track it. Watch out for the state cooperating in smooth discovery handovers and paper-thin counter motions from the attorney general. The performative defense. Watch the attorney general's counter motions if they are legally weak and lack aggressive pushback against the new counsel's demands. The state is actively throwing the fight. Fast-tracked hearings. Look for rapid scheduling of evidentiary hearings or closed door sessions to execute the exit off the record. Lack of internal panic. FOIA internal communications between local prosecutors and the AG verify lack of urgency. Outsourced reviews. Watch for state approvals, hiring private out-of-state consulting firms to review the original evidence. Wow. That was great information for sure. Obviously, there's a ton more slides talking through it. What do you guys think about that? I like how Big Forehead, Big Dreams said theory 1 leads to theory 2, and then kind of puts a exclamation point on it with this comment here saying the level of orchestration is insane. It has to be orchestrated. I don't know how anything that we're seeing would have not been orchestrated and how this would naturally progress. Now, I saw a super chat come in from Accomplished Day saying, Birdie, did you see how the people are saying, or let me start over. Accomplished Day said, Birdie, did you see how people are saying the 614 West Ash house that I showed last night was possibly next to the parking lot where Lana found the 4 girls in the 2013 Silver Elantra where were stopped with drugs that night? I did not see that, Accomplished Day. I still haven't even had time to watch Lana's live about Maori. That's on my list to do. So I will be purchasing the in-flight Wi-Fi tomorrow when we're at the airport so that I can catch up on this stuff. And like I said, I'm excited to be able to just watch and intake a bunch of information. But no, I had not seen that Accomplished Day. That's crazy. And obviously last night you did a ton of digging. If you have not seen that, that is on the call-in show. It's about 2 hours in, hour and a half, 2.5 hours in, somewhere in that window. And you'll know that it's Accomplished Day because you'll see a beautiful PowerPoint presentation or PDF file. And thank you, Accomplished Day, again, for not only calling in and sharing, but also for the big old super chat. And said someone commented on my post about it. I did not know that. They're saying it was near Ash and Elm. I have actually, let me go back to my slide that I made for that. Because I have that initial report. I'm just looking for it quickly. If I can't find it, come on, where is it? I hate when this happens. I can't. Oh, I got it. So here's the report. It says on November 13th, 2022, at about 1:43 in the morning, I was working a plainclothes detail for minors in possession / consumption of alcohol and other related alcohol or drug offenses on and near the University of Idaho campus. While patrolling the area of 7th Street and Ash Street, I observed a vehicle running in the parking lot to the north of 7th and East Ash Street. The vehicle was a 2013 Hyundai Elantra. Thank you, Accomplished Day, for dropping that into the Discord. I had showed this before, but this is their trunk. Very similar to the White Claw cans found on the ground in the crime scene photos. It makes my head spin. It makes my head spin. I cannot fathom anybody letting college students walk for this. Families, parents, other students, the police, the university. I just can't wrap my head around it. The odds of it being an Elantra, speeding away, plainclothes detail pulls them over. There's the Banfield with the plainclothes. We see the Elantra on the 1112. I just don't understand it. Thank you, Auntie Psychotic 12. Love that username. Pop and Switch, good to see you. Said it looks so strewn and odd. That it does. Crime Junkie said that's why it goes deeper than what we expect. And why we can't quit that case. That's right, Love and Other Habits. Splendid Melancholy said Operation. Speaking of that footage, I know that I've shown this. Like, this will be the third or fourth time. In a way, too, this is funny. I was doing from the comments before I was doing from the comments because this person said, well, it backfired. I just unsubscribed, put it on a loop, and I watched the same thing twice. Lost me. Hope you lose a whole lot more. You talk about, again, going over somebody's head. I didn't loop anything. This person thought that I had looped all of these entries. No, this is what the entries all look like. They are the exact same entries. For the most part, there's two different vehicles. There's the loud, dark SUV, and then there's what they claim to be the white Elantra. So I remember doing that when I saw this. I'm like, that's how crazy this looks to people when you put it side by side. Is that they think that I'm looping it. No, all I did was just clip the entries, clip the exits, clip the passes, and somebody thought that I did that. And you can see the different timestamps up in the corner. And I won't bore anybody with this again. I shouldn't say bore. It's just I feel like I've talked about this so many times, and nobody wants to take it into account that the timeline that we're going off of with one of the most talked about cameras being the 417 thud, being the 420 camera going away, Murphy barking when Brian Koberger apparently goes into the house, that camera, when you separate everything out, this took me, I don't even know how many hours. I really don't even know. Countless. 30 hours? I don't know. I had so much just determination to get this done. And I mean, I did all of them. I even got it to the point where you could mimic all of the speeds by speeding it up at the corner to 2.5x. This is what happens when you sync them all on the speed. Again, I feel like majority of people have seen this, but when the car gets to the corner here, if you guys can see my cursor down in the lower right, when the car gets to the corner, right around where the stop sign is or that street sign is, they would speed the car up or slow it down. But if you put them all at 2.5x for whatever reason, that was the magic number. So, like, isn't that crazy to anybody? I feel like that's completely insane. Sherlock said, I get the exact same kind of accusations on my videos too. It's like an orchestrated attempt to confuse people. We are so on the right track. And even if I go to the slides where it wasn't sped up, guys, and you just walk. Luna said, I wonder how some of these people successfully function on a day-to-day basis. Right. They must think we're all so dumb. It's like anybody can watch this. And if you didn't know that it was from the Idaho 4 case and, oh my God, they got the guy, just shut the hell up, move on. What are you doing? Let them grieve. If it wasn't from this case, and I showed you this, you would say, wow, somebody manipulated that video. I would guess the majority of people would say that. But no, they are blinded by the media shoving a bunch of garbage down their throats. But even if you just watch the entries, this isn't even sped up. I have all the timestamps of when the entries are, and watch this. You'll be able to tell too. I think it's like the third and the fifth entry have the black SUV. So watch how similar those two are, and then watch how similar the rest of them are. I have this muted. I mean, seriously. It's just so crazy. Even down to the shadows on the house. It's a touch of a button to speed it up. John said, you could plainly see Brian Koberger driving that car. The exits are crazy. Anyways, guys, that stream is up there. Or that stream I did a while ago. Whenever I look back at this slide or these slides, a part of me, like, I'm very proud of all the work that went into doing this. But it's one of the only times that I've felt like, why isn't this resonating with people? Is it the delivery of it? Is it too much going on at the same time on the screen? Is it because people don't want to believe it? Does anybody have maybe some reasoning as to why? Because it's like we see this and then we'll go watch the footage and we'll try to make out all of these sounds, and we've done that in here, but for vehicle movements, if they've looped or I don't know what they could have done to do this, it's so simple where I feel like this is almost too simple of an explanation, saying they put it at 2.5x speed and they all line up. It almost seems too easy of an explanation in a way. Sammy said they're brainwashed. But yeah, for whatever reason, the car is just, I don't know. So, Hive, anyways, with that, I am going to conclude today's Hive Plus War Room. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you for calling in last night. Again, as a reminder, videos will be up at noon on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I will be having my toes in the water, ass in the sand on Myrtle Beach. And I will see you all when I get back on Friday for a call-in stream, and then we'll go right into a War Room Saturday. So I'm so ready. Like I said, I got that 1,000-yard stare. I'm ready for a fantastic vacation. Splendid Melancholy, thank you so much for the massive super chat. Jesus. Said, have a well-deserved, lovely time with your sweetheart. We will miss you. Thank you. That means a lot. I think the craziest part about streaming is doing it nightly. It's just wild when you miss a day. It feels like, oh, my routine is so off because of how ingrained this has become in my daily routine. And I think the first year that I started streaming, I didn't even take off on weekends. I don't think I would do Saturdays and Sundays. And Accomplished Day, thank you so much for the super chat. Said the Rojas family I was talking about last night is who is also related to the deputy attorney of Boise who went to the U of I. That's so many crazy connections, Accomplished Day. And I wish I could comment more on it. I just don't know what to say other than the connections are insane that you're finding. Yeah, I'll echo what Splendid Melancholy said, and that is you are on it. Thank you again, everybody, for the super chat. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Clench Sphincter, for the Unk Alert. And with that, Hive, I will see you all next Friday for a call-in. Cheers.